lest we forget. No, I know it's not Remembrance Day, but that statement should be a rallying cry for the time and age we're living in. Okay, let me unpack what I mean by that. If you're going to take over a society, any society that's been overrun by socialism, totalitarians, collectivists, essentially, fascist, communist type of people who are now looking to usurp what was there and reimagine and recreate it in their own vision, the only way they can do that, other than the brute force of taking over what's there, is by erasing the past. Their goal has to be to remove any remnant of what once was, so that way what is now is normal. And that's what people come to know. That is why, if you think about it, in this transgender war, this trans madness we're living through, that is why the push is to go after younger and younger children and to indoctrinate them and get them to this way of thinking right from the beginning. I recently just read an article that in Missouri there was a homecoming queen that was a boy, essentially. So imagine if you're a 5-year-old child and this is what you've lived through the last few years. To you, this is normal. Men are women, women are men. I mean, essentially, you wouldn't know any different. And the only way you would know different is if people in your life, trusted adults such as parents, spoke that truth to you and told you what it was. Now, of course, this is why the focus of the current education system, indoctrination system, is to create that divide between parents and child. This is why they're after it, because who will be the oratory? Who will be the truth teller in this child's life? It should be the parents. But effectively, if you can remove the parents and take that credibility away and have a new trusted individual, which is either the school counselor or the school teachers or whomever, they become the authority. They are the ones who dictate what reality and history is, and they're the ones who omit past history and reality as well. And if someone offers to share it, like their parents, again, by removing them as the trusted authority in their lives, the children are left questioning. They now are doubting their parents as to whether they are sincere or whether they're credible or to be trusted at all. This is how collectivists, totalitarian, socialists, communists take over a society. They come in by wiping out the history of what was there prior. That's why we remember Remembrance Day. It's so that we're not bound to repeat the mistakes of the past. Plus, we also realize the sacrifices that people made in preserving what we have and what we can be thankful for. But again, if you erase that history, if you wipe it out completely, no one will remember it. And ultimately, you get to set what reality is going forward because you're making the rules. So how do we as rational people combat that? Now, I agree that not everybody has an audience of millions of followers, but the best way we can do that is in our small circle. Parents, adults, anyone there has to be bold to speak out and to share what once was. If you have lived through a time that was different, you owe it to that next generation that's coming up to share with them what that looked like. What did it mean? You cannot be afraid of cancel culture. You can't be afraid of speaking out. Because again, lest we forget, if that's what we do, we are bound to be enslaved to a future. And we owe it to the next generations that are coming up to at least have the same shot in life, have the same freedoms, have the same opportunities, have the same bright future that many of us got to enjoy the privilege of, and unfortunately something we didn't spend a lot of time investing in, and so that we could pay it forward to that next generation. So, like I said, number one takeaway is that do not forget what once was. Remember how life used to be. Speak to what normal was. Do not be gaslit into this new reality, and realize that young people, it's not their fault. This is the basically the cesspool they've grown up in, this ideology, this polluted thinking. If they're being raised in that, to them that is normal. They don't know anything different, and they need people, just like in Aboriginal cultures and stuff, where people use oratory and tales to tell of what once was. You and I and everyone else that's watching needs to do the same thing. regardless of what the impact of that may be, regardless of the fact that you may get canceled, regardless that somebody may think you're a hater or whatever else, they can label you as whatever type of phobe. You have to speak truth. It's something we must do, lest we forget we're going to be doomed to a future that none of us are going to enjoy. Anyway, I do appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Please post any comments you have in the comment section. You can also follow me, my Rumble, on my Locals account. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Camera612. And I will see you next time.